Welcome to the Garage Woodworks video podcast.
Okay, so I have my post clamped up on my bench and it's time to make the grooves to receive the panels. These grooves are going to be 3/8 of an inch deep, and I'm going to start just underneath the one mortise for the tenon, and I'm going to go all the way down and stop just short of the other mortise. I always like to make my first pass really light and then follow it up with successive deeper cuts. So let's go ahead and make a second pass. For the two front posts, they each have one face that does not receive a slot. Now, to prevent myself from accidentally creating a slot on that face, I went ahead and actually wrote on that face, "Do not slot." And that'll hopefully keep me from, prevent me from making a slot on that face. And another thing I'd like to point out, the way I'm clamping these posts to my bench top is that I actually took a block of wood and screwed this down to my workbench. That's one advantage to having a really cheap workbench. It doesn't really matter if you drill a hole into it. And on the other side, I'm just using a vise. Okay, so it's time to continue getting my groove on with this bookcase, and the next grooves that I'm going to make are in all the rails. And to do that, I'm going to use a stacked dado head cutter in the table saw, which has a width set to 1/4 inch. Here I'm resawing 4/4 cherry to make the panel for the back and sides. I probably should be using a taller fence when resawing, but for now this one will just have to do. But I think a taller fence is going to be on my to-do list. Okay, at this point I have all my panels resawn and they're book matched, and the book matched faces will be exposed on the outside. So what I'm going to do at this point is just lightly plane them to bring them down to final thickness. Okay, now it's time to glue up the book matched panels, but because these panels are so thin, we can't use any biscuits to aid in alignment. So as I'm gluing this together, it's going to be a little bit tricky to get the edges to line up all the way down the panel. Perfect glue spreader. Okay, now it's time to cut these panels to final width. And because my wife insists that I keep the glue line exactly in the center, I need to make sure I cut off an equal amount on both sides. So let's do that now. My panels are 3/8 of an inch thick, so I'm using just the back cutter of a panel raising bit to remove material from the inside of each panel. This way the panels will be able to fit into the 1/4 inch wide grooves in both the rails and the posts. Because this router bit removes a lot of material, I'm going to do this in several passes. With each successive pass, I'm going to move the fence back just a little bit. At this point I have all the components for the carcass ready to be assembled. All that's left to do is round over a few pieces and make the holes for the shelf pin.